A brand new EV battery can cost you anywhere between $10,000 and $20,000 to replace. Most drivers never see that bill coming, not because something went wrong overnight, but because of 5 quiet habits they repeated every single day without thinking twice. I already made a video about common EV mistakes, but today we're talking about the habits that actually damage your battery long term. These aren't obvious. They're not things manufacturers put in bold on the first page of the manual, but they're the exact reasons some EVs lose 20 to 30% of their range within just a few years, while others stay strong past 150,000 miles. If you own an EV or you're planning to buy one, what I'm about to share will save you thousands. Number 1. Letting the battery sit fully charged for days. Most people know that charging to 100% every day isn't ideal, but here's the part that actually causes the damage. It's not just getting to 100%, it's staying there. When a lithium-ion battery sits at maximum voltage for extended periods, the internal chemistry is under constant stress. The cathode materials start breaking down faster. The cells experience what's called high voltage drain, and unlike range loss from cold weather, this kind of degradation is permanent. Think of it this way. If you flex a muscle and hold the tension for hours on end, the tissue breaks down faster than if you flex and release. Your battery works the same way. Here's a real pattern I've seen repeatedly. Someone charges their car to 100% on Friday night before a weekend trip. The trip gets canceled on Saturday morning, the car sits in the driveway, fully charged until Monday. That 2-day window of maximum voltage stress causes measurable cellular damage that compounds each time it occurs over months and years. Tesla, Hyundai, Volkswagen, they all build charge limit settings directly into their apps. Not as a bonus feature, as a warning. They know that drivers who ignore the setting pay for it later. Tesla's own documentation specifically recommends keeping daily charge at 80 to 90% and reserving 100% charges for trips where you genuinely need full charge. The chemistry reason matters here too. At 100% charge, lithium-ion cells operate at their highest internal voltage. That elevated voltage accelerates a process called electrolyte oxidation. Essentially, the fluid inside the battery slowly breaks down. Once that fluid degrades, you can't reverse it. The capacity is permanently lower. The fix is simple. For daily driving, set your charge limit to 80%. If you've got a long road trip the next morning, charge to 100% the night before and leave early. Don't charge to full on Sunday and then sit in the driveway until Tuesday. Schedule charges to finish close to when you actually leave, not hours or days before. That one adjustment alone can meaningfully extend the useful life of your battery pack. Number 2. Hard acceleration when the battery is cold. This one catches a lot of drivers off guard. Everyone knows EVs have instant torque. That's part of the appeal. You tap the accelerator and the car launches. It feels effortless. But when your battery is cold, and in winter months when it's absolutely cold, hammering the accelerator creates a serious internal stress spike that most drivers have no idea is happening. Here's why. Cold lithium-ion cells have higher internal resistance. When you demand a massive surge of power from a battery that hasn't reached operating temperature, the cells are forced to push current through that resistance at extremely high rates. The result is concentrated heat buildup in specific parts of the pack, and a process called lithium plating, where metallic lithium deposits form on the anode instead of properly intercalating with the electrode material. Once that happens, it doesn't reverse. That capacity is gone, and over time, those lithium-ion deposits can develop into structures called dendrites, microscopic metallic filaments that can eventually cause internal short circuits. That's when a battery problem goes from gradual capacity loss to a safety issue. Most drivers don't connect the dots because the car responds normally on the surface. The acceleration feels fine, nothing triggers a warning. The car doesn't limp or stall, but underneath, repeated cold, hard launches are quietly chipping away at battery health in ways that only show up in the data months later. Think about how your body feels trying to sprint first thing in the morning without warming up. You can do it, but the joints, muscles, and connective tissues all take more stress than they would after 5 minutes of movement. Your battery has the same dynamic, just at a chemical level. Some EVs will actually limit performance in extreme cold for exactly this reason. The battery management system throttles output until operating temperature is reached, but in milder cold, around 35 to 45 degrees Fahrenheit, many cars don't restrict performance at all, even though the battery would benefit from a gentler warm-up period. Number 3. Parking the car empty for long storage. This one is massively underrated as a damage risk, and it trips up owners who otherwise do everything right. Most EV owners know they shouldn't run the battery to zero constantly, but parking the car for days or weeks with less than 10% charge is a different problem, and it's one that can trigger consequences far beyond just reduced range. When a lithium-ion battery sits in a deeply discharged state, the cell chemistry becomes unstable. Voltage drops below safe thresholds. The electrodes can degrade through a process where the protective coating on the anode breaks down, permanently increasing internal resistance. In more extreme cases, the battery management system initiates a safety shutdown to prevent further damage, and recovering from a deep discharge shutdown isn't always straightforward. Some vehicles require dealer-level intervention to wake the battery back up. This happens more than people realize. Someone parks their EV at the airport for 2 weeks, didn't think to check the charge level beforehand. It was sitting at 12% when they left. They come back to a car that won't start, needs a tow, and may have sustained permanent cell damage, all from an oversight that took less than a minute to prevent. Even if the car does fully recover, the cells have already taken damage. Deep discharge events accumulate. Each one shaves capacity. In the vampire drain that most EVs experience, the background energy used to maintain connectivity, monitor battery temperature, and run software means a car parked at 15% can reach critical levels faster than owners expect, especially in cold weather, where self-discharge rates increase. There's also the storage duration factor. A car parked for 2 days at 8% is very different from a car parked for 3 weeks at 8%. The longer the battery sits at critically low voltage, the more permanent the degradation. The rule is simple. If you're storing the car for more than a day or two, make sure you're leaving it at 40 to 60% charge. That's the sweet spot where lithium-ion cells experience the least stress at rest. The internal voltage is moderate, the chemistry is stable, and self-discharge over time won't push the pack to dangerous territory. Set a reminder before any trip, check the charge level, and top it up at least 50% before you leave. If you're getting value from this, hit the like button and subscribe for more real EV ownership content like this coming every week. Number 4. Charging immediately after extreme high-speed driving. You just got off the highway, you push the car hard for 45 minutes at high speed, you pull to a charging station and plug in. Feels efficient, right? You're multitasking, driving and charging in the same trip. But here's what's actually happening inside the battery at that moment. Extended high-speed driving generates significant heat in the battery pack. The cells are already elevated in temperature. When you immediately plug in and start charging, especially at a DC fast charger, you're adding more thermal load on top of an already hot pack. Heat is the primary accelerant in battery aging. Charging a hot battery creates a compounding thermal effect. The cells experience higher internal temperatures than the cooling system can efficiently manage, and the result is accelerated degradation of the electrolyte and electrode materials. Over a single session, this might not be noticeable, but if this is a regular habit, highway driving followed immediately by fast charging, the accumulative effect shows up clearly in long-term capacity data. The solution doesn't require much. After aggressive highway driving, give the battery 15 to 20 minutes to cool before plugging in. Park in the shade if possible. Let the thermal management system bring temperatures down before you start pushing energy back into the pack. Some newer EVs will handle this automatically with charge throttling, but not all of them do it effectively enough to eliminate the issue entirely. Don't rely on the car to protect you here. Build the habit yourself. Number 5. Ignoring cooling system warnings or performance drops. This is the one that turns a manageable problem into an extremely expensive one. A lot of EV drivers operate with a simple logic. The car drives, it's fine. No warning lights, no loss of power, no strange sounds. Everything must be okay. But cooling system problems are one of the few issues that can cause serious, irreversible battery damage while the car continues driving completely normally on the surface. Here's how the system works. Your EV's battery thermal management system maintains the pack with a specific operating temperature range during both charging and driving. Coolant circulates through channels in the battery module. Sensors monitor temperatures across multiple points in the pack. The system continuously adjusts power output and charging rates based on thermal data. When that system starts failing, a slow coolant leak, a weakening pump, a sensor that's reading slightly off, the battery begins running hotter than it should. Not dramatically hot, just consistently 5 to 10 degrees above its ideal range. The car doesn't flag it immediately. The battery management system compensates by subtly limiting output. You might notice slightly reduced fast charging speeds, slightly lower performance on particular warm days, a range that feels a little shorter than usual. And here's the insidious part. All of those symptoms are easy to rationalize away. It's summer, of course. It charges slower. I've been driving more highway miles. The battery is just getting older. You dismiss the warning signs one by one, and meanwhile, the elevated operating temperatures are doing compounding thermal damage to the cells that cannot be undone. The chemical explanation is important here. When battery cells run hot consistently, a process called accelerated SEI layer growth occurs on the anode. The SEI, solid electrolyte interface, is a film that forms naturally on the anode and is actually necessary for the battery to function. But at elevated temperatures, it grows too thick too fast. That thick SEI layer increases internal resistance, permanently reduces capacity, and traps lithium that can never be recovered. Pay attention to the warning signs. If your fast charging speed has dropped noticeably and you can't explain it by weather or battery age, if your car limits performance on warm days more than it's used to, if you're getting any cooling system alerts at all, even intermittent ones, don't keep hitting dismiss. That's the car telling you something is wrong. Your battery is the most expensive single component in your car. It defines your range, your resale value, and your long-term cost of ownership more than any other factor. A little attention now is worth thousands of dollars down the road. Drop in the comments which of these habits you've been guilty of. I guarantee at least one of these is something you've done without realizing the impact. And subscribe for more EV ownership content that actually gets into the details that matter for long-term reliability.